Welcome to The Real Wine Show, a wine game show wrapped in a talk show, wrapped in a podcast about wine. I'm Matt.
And I am Chad.
So our first segment is kind of like Wait, Don't Tell Me. We're calling it Spot the Corker, where we read possibly fictitious news pieces and ask each panelist to decide if they're true or false.
The second segment is the emotive blind tasting, where instead of relying on the usual descriptors like what kinds of fruits, how much tannin or acid the wine has, we ask our panelists to taste the wine and tell us a story about the wine based on how it makes them feel, like perhaps a memory, or if the wine were a person, what kind of person would it be?
You know, think of it less of a game show and more of a wild discussion about the wide world of wine. So let's get into it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Matt is not with us today. He, I think, came down with a little cold or something like that. So he's out, and I'll be doing my best to shepherd the show through to a fun and entertaining conclusion here. So we'll get started off by introducing our guests today. Our first guest that we have is Nuria Esteve
Garrote y Esteve.
Garrote y Esteve. Sorry, Nuria Garrote y Esteve. I knew I was going to get that wrong. I should have practiced up. But yes, Nuria, thank you for coming in. Of course, you own VinoVi, the import company, and you are a Spanish wine import specialist. Is that correct?
That's correct, and I extended into what I call La Catalunya North, which is the Languedoc-Roussillon in France.
Oh, also cool. I didn't know you were bringing wines in from that area. Yeah, that is definitely.
Yeah.
They have it's called the Côte Catalan, isn't it?
Yeah, and they speak Catalan.
Yeah.
So being from Barcelona, I'm closer to the southern France than most of the other regions in Spain. So
right.
In basics, I'm in Spanish in southern France wine importer.
Excellent. Yeah. And you've been doing that for how long now?
15 years. Yeah.
That's great.
Michigan has been my home for the past 20 years. I moved here in 2004 to work for the auto industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And then I discovered the beauty and complexity of wine thanks to Eli. Mm-hmm. So everybody assumes that being from Spain, that's what I brought my, wine passion. And actually, it was in Michigan.
Yeah. Well, Eli Wine Shop.
I discovered that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Eli's an amazing guy. I've always been impressed with him. He's one of those people when I was getting started, right, who was really one of the icons in the business, and I'm sure you know too, Taylor. And so I used to kind of just watch what he was up to at the trade shows and that kind of stuff, just to pick up what I could. And that first shop, I think was it the first shop, the Royal Oak?
Royal Oak, yeah. That's actually where I met him. But
still an iconic spot. I mean, that was amazing. The spot now is on 14 Mile and Woodward, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. But back home, my father will always have a bottle of wine every time we had, a meal, which was lunch and dinner at home. We will be at the table. You had to be at the table.
Yeah.
So I was surrounded by wine all my life. I drank wine, but I never paid the attention that I am now. So
yeah, we've had a tremendous impact with the Spanish wines. So thank you is what I'll say too. I certainly enjoy a great many of your wines. Yeah. So that's fantastic. So,
thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
We'll continue to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ben, we're here with Ben Tselis-Jackson. Did I get it right this time?
Yes, you did.
Sorry, the first time you were on the show, I think I left out the Tselis part or something like that, and I apologize. So,
that's okay.
Yeah. So Ben, you are up at Vine and Brew, which is a cool shop in East Lansing, down on Jolly Road?
On Jolly Road, yeah.
Yeah.
So we specialize in carrying odd and interesting sorts of things as a sort of safe haven for all the weirdos out there in the Lansing area that like to enjoy wine and beer.
Yeah, it is a great spot. I hear about it from people, who are up there, and it's always been since the time I first started running into it, it's always had a really, I would say, eclectic selection, which was just an eye opener for East Lansing, which is kind of thought to be a little more of a less sophisticated market, I guess, is what we thought, was kind of the conventional wisdom, but you've proved it not true.
To an extent, I think the thing that people tend to forget is that East Lansing, of course, east of Lansing, and Lansing is a union town and very much a big beer town, but we suckered them in with good beer and we keep them coming with good wine.
Yeah, good job, man. That's great. Well, thanks for coming back down and being on the show again.
Of course.
Appreciate it. And Taylor Smith. No, what's wrong with me?
That's okay.
Why-
I was a Schmidt. Now I'm a
Schmidt.
Johnson.
Thank you.
I keep 'em
Schmidt-Johnson.
guessing.
Taylor Schmidt-Johnson, then. I'm sorry.
No
I
problem.
say Smith. I don't know why. There's another Taylor.
Only a couple consonants away from you.
Thank you.
No problem.
You're very gracious. I should have done my homework.
No problem.
Usually I leave this part to Matt, and so that's my excuse. That Matt's not here. I'm doing my best.
No worry. No worry.
Taylor
at all.
Schmidt-Johnson, thank you.
Hi. Yes.
You're coming from the Dixboro Project, so they're the Dixboro House in Dixboro, just right outside of Ann Arbor here, yeah?
That is correct. Yes. I have been with the Dixboro Project for just under a year. I'll be at a year in May. Time flies when you're having fun, the old
Yeah.
adage says. And as the wine director and the sommelier, I have the luxury and the pleasure of building out our menus, training the staff, obviously being on the floor and a part of service, and then also just continuing to build the vision. It's quite a visionary project.
It's an amazing space. I mean, Sava's, her vision in putting that space together is still impressive. And it's not done yet, right? I mean, there's still a bunch more that is kind of on the docket. Is that right?
That is correct. Yes. I actually had an interaction with a guest just yesterday where they were talking about the early years where, they were complimenting the business and Sava pointed to the word project and she said, that's because we're still growing. And I love that that's still true to form. So most recently we just had Chef Garrett Lepar, previously of Albina, Detroit, join our team as chef partner.
So amazing.
So the culinary program has always been impressive to me, but we're really entering the next era of what we're able to offer our community and our guests. And we will be building out the garden farm space a little bit more.
Yeah, fantastic.
We have a modest group of very lively chickens. So so we're getting some more eggs this year. And it's just been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, great. Well, that's good. Good to hear. And we're excited. I mean, Ann Arbor needs like somebody like Garrett, and working at Dixboro. I mean, that is going to just, hopefully fire things up in the Ann Arbor scene. I'm not dogging on the hometown, but we're in dire need of, some super exciting stuff. And so you guys are definitely at the top of the, I'm so excited. When does he kick in? Is he starting now?
This was week 2.
Hey.
So just right off the gate.
Good.
So we've, been working as a team to really prepare for what some of these new projects and things that we'll be offering. As far as wine dinners, we'll be starting those back up in June of this year, giving our culinary team a moment to just reset, come up with new menus. And then I, for myself, just finished doing the spring and summer reset for the glass pours with some really interesting world wines, but also, of course, some Michigan wines, which I love and adore.
Yeah, excellent. That's so cool. All right, well, let's get into but that reminds me, though, Nuria, we did not talk about Catalan Wine Week. You guys I've been watching your social media, and you've been firing that up. So
yes, we are.
Just tell us a little bit about that, even though this episode will probably not be released until after it's finished. But for those people who might be interested in getting in next time around.
It will be every year. So April 23rd, it's a beautiful holiday in Catalonia, the northeast region of Spain where I'm from. Barcelona is the capital. And there is a holiday where we celebrate literature and we exchange books and roses.
Oh, really?
Honoring the legend of St. George. We call it San Jordi.
Okay. Oh,
and around that, we are promoting our Catalan wine and winemakers.
Yeah, fantastic.
So doing
events all over the Detroit
events
area.
all over, thanks to our partners like Taylor is at Dixboro Project and many other places. We're doing all type of events.
So cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Well, keep up the good work, both of you, because that's, just having excitement in the wine community and stuff happening is what really fires me up, and it's so good for business.
There is a lot of wine out there, but there isn't enough good wine, in my opinion. So promoting winemakers that are truthful to, viticulture.
Yeah, honest winemaking.
Yeah, and that they pay attention to details, and that's what we represent. So it's a good excuse to, to have more than just our regular customers to explore Catalan and Spanish wines in general.
Yeah, give people some reason to connect with,
absolutely.
with that kind of wine. So.
And with a cultural content.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. That's great news. Okay,
Thank
cool.
you.
Yeah, well, let's get into it here then. Let's kick off the game with the game. Let's not call it that. Let's call it a discussion, our game show discussion here with our first question. I'll ask each of you your responses in sequence to the questions. And I'll get started with one that we call, it might not be the sulfites that get you. Okay? We all know a cork can stink up a wine with TCA, but now we know that corks can contribute to positive flavor attributes in wine thanks to compounds called corklins. First identified in 2015 and named in 2017, corklins are large tannin-derived compounds which form in wine from the interaction of phenolic compounds in corks with polyphenolics found in wine like catechins and malvidins. I think it's catechins. It looks like catechins. You think?
I'm
Okay,
going to
yeah.
nod my head yes.
Thank you, Taylor. Yeah.
You're welcome.
So yeah, it's this interaction of the phenolic compounds. In addition to reducing color deterioration, corklins also reduce astringency in wine. According to Miguel Cabral, the director of research and development at Amorim, the cork producer, quote, "When we put wine in a barrel, there is an extraction of phenolics from the wood into the wine, and it is the same when we put wine in a bottle sealed with cork," he says. He went on that we should not be surprised that we find the same kinds of compounds in the cork as in the cork barrels, because cork is, after all, the bark of the cork oak tree. So corklins, for you folks, corklins, CORKLINS, are they the real deal and the result of cork being in contact with wine? That's my question, and whoever would like to field it first can go right ahead.
I'll jump right in.
True or false? Yeah, true or false is what we're looking for there.
In my immediate reaction, I'm, although a very theory-based person, I'm quite gullible. So I feel like when I hear something like this, I get really excited because, it does make sense, even from an agricultural standpoint. If you think about, again, the material of cork versus the wood of a barrel.
Yeah.
I think also, again, being theory-based, a word like corklins is quite literal for the description. So either they're being really kind or that might be a bluff. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say that I think it's false. Is that correct?
That you could say true or false. Yeah, you have an option of saying true.
I'm going to say false. I'm going to say false.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good. Ben you've got something to say about it. What do you think, corklins?
So corklins sounds like something that surprisingly was left on the cutting room floor of Gremlins 2, despite all of the other Gremlins that did make it in. That being said, I really enjoyed Gremlins 2, so I'm going to say true.
Oh, okay.
All right.
That is my only justification.
Yeah. Nuria, what about you? Yeah, what do you say about corklins?
My instinct says false,
Okay.
and we'll go with that.
Okay. So we'll go with that. So we have a true,
False.
a false, a true, and false. But the corklins are, in fact, real. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
I know. It's an interesting thing. The guy at Amorim, Cabral, Miguel Cabral, he said he was saying he was working on a big research project with the University of Portugal to determine the capacity of different stoppers to release these phenols. So Ben, congratulations on getting that one right. That's we're gonna go with we'll go with 100 points on that one because that I would say for standing apart and taking a bold and innovative approach. Would be worth 200, but I mean, Gremlins wasn't that good a movie, so we'll go with 100 points.
Agree to disagree. Also, I want the record to reflect the fact that I get 100 points and a high five from Nuria. I don't know if you heard that.
That was we heard that. Yeah, that's it. It'll be on the record. So yeah, very good. As a follow-up thing, I want to ask you about your thoughts on this. Came up somewhere. It was probably like on a Instagram thing or something or other. But what about, speaking of corks, laying wine in on the side? What do you guys think about that? Like, is that, there's been some myth busting going on around that as far as, whether or not it's necessary for the, for the for the good condition of the cork. You guys have any thoughts about that? How you?
Yeah, I'd love to jump in.
Go, Taylor.
So. Obviously, in restaurants, when you're holding, and cellaring bottles on their side, I think that one of the first lessons you learn is that you want to keep the cork in contact with, the wine inside in order to avoid things like cork rot. And also, too, when you think about the surface area of the oxygen that is still inherently in the bottle. A lot of
ullage, yeah.
correct, yes. And I feel like with my staff, I really impress upon them with vintage bottles that if you get that fine line of drop sediment versus it collecting all at the bottom, if it's standing upright, it's more of, I think, a insurance move to make sure that you're not going to be decanting something. Because we're, although a fine dining lensed establishment, we're still very much about the comfort and the elevated experience of, simple hospitality pleasures. So we're not doing basket service. We don't have guirlandons. We're not doing candles. So I do think from even just a utilitarian function, it's nice to make sure you're not decanting and then all of a sudden you get a pop of sediment from the base.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's cool. And it does make me wonder too, what kind of interactions might be going on between the sediment and the wine, if it's concentrated, in a smaller surface area compared to the long, like you say, along the full length of the bottle from being laid in sideways. Yeah. Either of you folks have anything to say about it, or?
I think that's a subject that I'm going to research afterwards because there might be a PhD study done by someone.
There are some, yeah.
Right? And but I'm a very practical person. I think laying down obviously takes less space.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I've been too in like in cellars, like in Kawa and stuff, and you can stack a crap ton of bottles in laid sideways with nothing. Maybe a little rock to keep one from rolling away.
Easier to access, right, in and out. So I think it's more for a practical reason, and I'm not saying there are not benefits to that, but it's not as a key to the conservation or preservation of the wine.
Yeah, that was one of the alternate.
Yeah, because one of the challenges that winemakers have is after they bottle, they need to keep the bottles vertical, right? To make sure that the vacuum kind of before the cork completely grows.
Yeah, because the cork, when you compress it too, it releases, the gases and whatever's in there. Yeah. I guess it's mostly oxygen or air. And the cork, when they compress it, then that's going to be released into the bottle.
Yeah, so they take corking, bottling corking very seriously to avoid that interaction with air and wine to the cork. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my take.
Yeah, cool. Ben, would you ever store your bottles upright, or what do you do?
I already have a rack that I can lay all my bottles on the side. So just for the sake of, I don't feel like moving that out of my basement.
Yeah,
I feel like just on the side is fine. But I don't know if this was an allusion to a previous show or something. But as I recall, there was some sort of study or something done, and they found that the air between the cork and the wine was actually really high in moisture, and that was sufficient enough to keep the bottom of the cork that's interacting with the wine, the most important part, moist enough to ensure that it wasn't going to actively oxidize.
Okay. Yeah, that kind of thing is out there for sure. Yeah,
that being said, I don't like crunchies in my wine, so I'm just as happy to keep my wines upright.
I don't mind them.
Oh, you don't? The sediment doesn't bother you, huh?
No. Makes me feel closer to the earth.
Yeah, mouthful of dirt. Interesting. Yeah, I'm a little sensitive to it, I guess, but it doesn't freak me out. But yeah,
I wouldn't eat a sandwich of it, but in my glass, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. So what is in your glass, by the way? Let's do a little wine check here before we go to the next question. Nuria, you have a white.
I have wine of Georgia.
Hey.
Yeah. So I love being exposed to wines that I don't normally, get around. So I started with the Oregon wine, and now I'm into the Georgia. And I think it's called Teliani.
Yeah,
and Solicoti.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's a white variety from kind of the western part of Georgia. This one, though, is not a Qvevri wine. It's not made in those big terracotta vats that they have buried. It's a traditional or Western style, and that's made in stainless steel. But it does have the nice, it's got the freshness and the kind of the acidity you'd expect from that. Yeah, you like it, though, huh?
I do.
It's fine. It's nice. Yeah. It's 2019. It's getting a little bit, for a simple white wine, it's holding its own there.
It's very pleasant. I would drink it every day.
Yeah. So Ben, what do you have over there?
Yeah, actually, very coincidentally, I had picked up a bottle of Pirita, as I believe how it's pronounced.
Yeah, Pirita. Yeah, Fool's Gold.
From a very wonderful producer and expat of, I think this is the correct way to say it, expat of Britain in Spain.
Correct.
It's a wonderful little blend of stuff, including Juan Garcia and Tempranillo and Rufete
And Bruñal.
and Bruñal.
Is that from the over in the west, like the Gredos area?
Actually, it's at the border with Portugal. So it's the province of Zamora. And
Yeah.
it's the only appellation in Spain that it's 100% of the wine appellation is inside a natural park. So it's called
okay.
Arribes del Duero by the river. Right? That's how the Duero river exits Spain to go into Portugal.
Yeah, that's one of the only places where you find the Rufete, you know?
Yeah, and it's 100-plus-year-old vines.
Cool.
It's a beautiful place. Yeah.
Ooh, I'll have to get over there and get some of that. And this is one of your wines. This is a VinoVi wine. by the way.
Yeah,
Just-
and it's a 2013 vintage, so I'm excited to
Oh,
taste
nice.
it. I
Oh,
haven't
yeah.
had it in a while, so
Cool.
And
Yeah.
very delicious. And that's why it was coincidence. I had no idea who else was coming. I was just like, I
Yeah.
want to bring cool Spanish wine. And
Thank you.
It's very
Yeah.
warm out. So.
Thank you. Yeah, serendipity is in our
That's-
favor there. Good. And how about for you, Taylor? What are you sipping on there? It's got some interesting color. It looks a little blushy. Or
So
something.
that might just be from inappropriate rinsing, because I was also drinking the Parita and then moved into the Shiba Wichern. This is the Auxerrois.
Oh yeah.
I'm-
No, I think it does have a little bit of color, that wine.
Okay, yeah.
It takes a little bit of skin contact, if I remember.
Yeah, it's really quite lovely. I am very familiar with her Pinot Noir. We used to pour it by the glass.
Some super stuff, right? Those
Yeah.
Pinots can be really so fine. I mean, just detailed to death.
And I love with her wines that there is such an emphasis on, again, time and place and being representative as a producer in Oregon. But I think there's just like a very lovely Burgundian touch to her
Yeah.
style. It's a little higher tone, and again, less intervention. So I think
Yeah, cool.
it's a great bridge wine too. Talking on, again, getting consumers a little more comfortable with the conversation of natural wine to show them
We
wines
were
that
talking
still
about
are,
that earlier, yeah.
yeah, that are
before
very
the show.
stabilized and still show a lot of elegance and finesse, but are not having a huge fingerprint from the winemaker altering them beyond their own fidelity.
Yeah, cool. All right, excellent. Let's move on to our second question here for you. This one is called Thank Grapes, It's Not the 1600s. Okay. At a recent coronation of Denmark's new king, Frederick X, a lucky caterer's big break turned sour when they served faulty wine to His Majesty the King. For the coronation supper, a proud and daring sommelier, Margrethe Clausen, selected a wine from one of the country's few wineries, eager to showcase Danish pride. However, stricken with COVID, she was unable to attend the dinner, and the wine was opened and poured without professional supervision. Okay, that's terrible. Upon tasting it, King Frederick was clearly displeased, but he reserved his royal reprimand until out of the view of cameras, at which point he railed to his house director about such an egregious faux pas. Shortly thereafter, in Denmark's first big scandal of 2024, several high-ranking staffers from the Royal House Service were dismissed. The sommelier Margrethe, who fortunately survived the sacking, while speaking to journalists about the episode, quipped that being made from hybrid varieties, it was likely a risky call, even if it hadn't been faulty, and that she had backup Bordeaux in the cellar just in case. But in her fevered state, she forgot to tell anyone. How do you say whoops in Danish? I don't know. So our question then to the panel is, did the Danish king fire his kitchen over bad wine? King Frederick X.
Was the fault listed?
We do not know.
We do not know what the fault was.
We do not know what the fault was. We don't know if the fault was listed either. But no, we don't know what the fault was.
So we don't know if they kept their wines upright and the cork dried out.
We don't. Poignant questions.
It's a bit of a tricky one because I can understand, I mean, from working in hospitality for most of my life, that, you know, that would be a pretty big misstep. I would feel pretty remiss. And, you know, again, I'm going to say true with this one. I don't think it would be impossible for someone of even royal stature to dismiss his staff if not pleased.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, I mean.
So I'll say true.
I'm going to say no.
No.
You said something about Danish
Danish wine.
Wines, yeah.
Danish wine. Yeah. Danish
Yeah.
wine, yeah. Cider, maybe, but wine, you're thinking?
I don't know. But
Well, what Danish wine?
that kind of like,
That's
it raised a flag.
It
and
does.
No offense to Denmark, because I don't know.
Right. Okay, so we've got a true from Taylor and a false from Nuria. Ben, how are you going to fall on this question of
So I
the wine?
feel that it is, while distinctly possible that a rich person would just overreact and get all upset and throw a fit, that the Danish people, even their king, or new king, is they're too happy to be that upset.
Yeah, the quality of life is too good.
It's just too nice, especially for a rich person in such a happy country. So I'm going to say false.
Well, Ben, you've nailed it. It is false, so that's going to be another 100 points for both Nuria and you. So congratulations, you two. Taylor, you can get in the game yet.
I told you,
it's not over.
gullibility, no problem.
You can go big.
I'm going to step it up.
You can still go big, yeah.
All right.
And win this one. Take it home for
okay.
the Dixboro Project.
I'm inspired.
Yeah, it is false. I just pulled that out of my my hiney because I had recently heard a story about someone had told me they were at a place and the sommelier, they ordered the wine, the sommelier brought it over, opened it tableside, poured it for himself, tasted it, declared it was delicious, and then just poured them the wine. And I was just wondering, like, is that cool? Taylor, you can address this first off as a sommelier. I mean, is there a new trend going on with wine service that would make?
Well, I can't, obviously, with my unawareness of some of these questions, can't say I'm most hip.
No, come on.
But no. But to say that, all jokes aside, that the way that I like to approach table service is I would never taste it first unless prompted. Mm-hmm. And if I even had an inkling that there was something off with it, I might give it some time on its own. As we know, again, certain aromatics can blow off a bit, especially if it's an older bottle, or again, something that maybe is unique, because part of, I think, showcasing really classic expressions from classic regions is that the guest does know what to expect. Maybe it's something they frequent or they cellar themselves. So we, as sommeliers, I think it's an inherent point of pride to be able to know where a wine how it should be expressing, and then also to being able to study faults in wine, which is why I keep a lot of corked bottles and I have my staff smell them. As soon as one comes up, like, you ever have a question about a corked wine, there's a couple in the cellar and you can go and take a whiff.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
and
that's smart.
I actually purchased some wines from estate sales, and I have a lot of fun with that, taking those to tasting groups. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they're beautiful, and other times it's more of a conversation about what went wrong. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't know, how can you be more informed than your guest? And
right.
I think, erring on the side of caution and hospitality, right? It's more about the enjoyment than anything else.
Yeah. Nuria, Ben, how would you feel if the sommelier just proclaimed that the wine was good and poured it for you? Does that strike you as odd or problematic?
I will feel, depending on the circumstances, but generally speaking, I would feel okay, because it's all about experience. And
Right.
I don't take for granted that a sommelier has had experience to all type of faults in wines from all different types of places. And so I will always give the benefit of the doubt, not about the wine, but about the reaction of, the person that tasted it.
Okay, so are you saying then if...
I'll be generous about it.
Yeah.
Because
But you wouldn't be hesitant to say, hey, I think this is, in fact...
Correct.
Off. Okay.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. If I do feel that way,
Yeah,
I would
right,
say
right.
it even if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, because I think there is I think there used to be, I was at a place once where the wine was opened away from the table, and
I don't like that.
Yeah.
it was a fancy place, and
I want to see the bottle, even if it's a wine glass.
yeah.
You know?
I agree. A rule that we kind of practice is we have some server, like hutches and stations, that if you're opening
Yes.
up a bottle that maybe needs a little more attention, or
Yeah.
you have a wax cap or something that you don't want to
Mess
up at the
yeah.
table, or if they're deep in dialogue and you don't want to have your elbows up in anybody's space, to announce to them. My little metaphor I tell my staff is, you wouldn't drop your kids off with a babysitter that they've never been to without letting them know, they're going to have a panic for no reason. So don't take somebody's bottle away from the table without letting them know exactly what you're going to do, and stay in the same room so they can see what you're doing. So I would feel similarly, be like, wait, where are you going?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Come back.
Yeah. Ben, what do you wait?
I actually I probably would similarly go. I wouldn't scream or shout or throw a fit, but I'd be like, I don't know. Something just really smells wrong with this, and fresh open bottle. Maybe it does. Maybe needs a bit of time to blow off. Some weird aromatics. Some wines can smell corked initially, and then they're totally fine like a minute or two later. Or sometimes that happens, at least with me. But if after a few minutes and still sipping on it, it's just like, no, something's wrong, I'd be like, no, I swear, there's really something wrong. Please have other people check. But there's something wrong here.
So you folks are speaking, of course, from a perspective of being, wine professionals and having a lot of experience. Do you think that for like the typical kind of consumer, that type of service where the sommelier proclaims the wine is fine and there you go, do you think that it's off-putting, or is it kind of, it struck me as extremely odd. That's all I can say. I was like, why would you do that? I don't even know why you would do it. Like,
I think in many industries, but hospitality especially, right? There is that fine line of confidence, and you want to be representing your establishment. Even as a sommelier, I go back to it often that, the winemaker did the hard part for me. I have the diligent duty of trying to represent it with accuracy and as much diplomacy as possible to keep enjoyment at the forefront of that.
Right, sure.
So I would find, again, there'd be more of a dialogue. Like if I was encountering that, like Ben would probably say, I totally understand that you've maybe had this wine, maybe I'm not as familiar, but I would have, hey, would you mind checking this? Or I'm really not enjoying it. I think it might be flawed. It's not always a learning lesson opportunity, right? To say, okay, it's not about what I know and you don't.
Right.
But if you're not enjoying the wine, again, I think it's important to speak on it and to be gracious as much as possible so that everybody learns, Don't want to drink bad wine. There's a lot of good wine in the world.
One thing, at least in my retail experience, I've come across is people. There was one lady, she had bought a bottle of wine, and she was like, it was pretty good, but then a couple of weeks later, it didn't taste that good. So, and
it wasn't sherry.
And it was not cherry, and it wasn't port. It was a little Cabernet Sauvignon from Roberts in South Africa, and and the thing was, I was like, the thing she said specifically was it tasted kind of vinegary, and I was like, well, you should dump it. Don't, and I think that sometimes people, that was a thing that she happened to voice to me, but where I'm going with this is people may not verbalize or guests at a restaurant may not verbalize like, I think this person's insane. This smells weird. It smells like a moldy refrigerator. But they'll have walked away from that experience going, I don't know, the wine they serve there is weird or terrible. They don't know what they're talking about, and so
I want that. Yeah,
it's. I mean, stuff happens. Everybody's human, but I think the thing, although I can't speak for personal experience, I'm sure it's more nerve-wracking in the moment, but the confidence to go. You know what? I need to give a second, or get a second opinion on this. I need to check as a sommelier and not be so confident, go and flippant about it and go, it's fine. Here, you hogs will suck it down. So I think that's that's one other thing too. Is it's not just about the somm. It's also the customers. They, regardless of if they're going to be confident and speak up about, hey, I don't think this is right, or if they're going to be timid and go, something's wrong, but I'm not going to say anything, but I'm also never going to come back.
Yeah, and that's what was kind of what got me. I thought that from a consumer perspective, that maybe a lot of people would perceive that as being a little bit odd.
Yeah.
But
I want to add one thing.
Please.
As a consumer, when we dine out, we should treat our food with the same senses and mind that we do wine. So sometimes we're often more judgmental about the wine than the food that is being served in the plate. So
Yeah, that's right, isn't it?
right.
Yeah, it is.
So
Yeah.
you feel more entitled to send the wine back and not as much the
Right. Yeah, right.
dish. So
Yeah. Well, it does.
I think there is a range of right.
responses, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, well, let's move on to our third question for you. This one we're calling Make Mine a Super. So back in 2003, in the face of a situation where some top quality wines, particularly in less prestigious regions, were revealing essential problems with Spain's appellation system hierarchy, a new category called Vinos de Pago, or VP in short, was established. In much the same way that the Super Tuscan Revolution in Italy in the 1980s sought to bring hierarchical prestige back to the appellation system in that country, and that led, of course, to the establishment of the IGT classification, so too VP, Vinos de Pago, was meant to rein in renegade Spanish wineries. VP is a classification which, rather than imposing a recipe and process, codifies quality, achieved by bringing strict requirements on single estates. They must be small, have unique characteristics in soil and microclimate, distinguishing it from the larger area, the larger appellation, and producing wines of distinctive and singular qualities. Unfortunately, 20 years on, Vinos de Pago doesn't ring with the same rich, and I mean that in the literally rich sense that Super Tuscan does for American consumers. Even within Spain, where fewer than half of the country's regions have adopted the Vinos de Pago framework, debate rages over the standing of the appellation within the classification hierarchy. So the question for our distinguished panel is the Vino de Pago a real classification in Spain, or is the Super Finca a super dud? This is naturally to you first.
It's a real classification.
It is. Okay, Vinos de Pago is a real classification.
So I say true.
The Spanish wine specialist says true. Okay. I dare you guys. Go ahead.
No.
I'm going to go with true.
Also true? Okay, yeah.
Nuria introduced me to some of my first Spanish wines that I fell in love with. So, yeah, I'm proud to follow in that wake.
Oh, all right.
True.
Excellent.
I actually happen to sell a winery, a Vinos de Pago winery. So
Fantastic.
I'll say true because otherwise
Excellent.
I'm lying to my customers, and we don't do that at Vine & Brew.
Well, that is, yeah. Well, that was great. Yes. Good job and for the consensus and for knowing Vinos de Pago, I'm going to grant all of you an extra 100 points. So, Ben, you still have a slight leg up, but
I think I should get 50.
yeah. Yeah. It was less challenging for you.
Well, I don't know. It's always challenging, but
So given that you folks know about Vinos de Pago, what about, is it, I am still struggling to, there's not that real, the cachet, right? Where is the understanding in the consumer market for zero?
not even in the national, domestic in Spain, market.
Is it the right tack? I mean, was that the right way to go with, I mean, is Spain going in the right way? Is it making it, are they building a case, I guess, for the prestige, or are they confusing things?
There is a need for more sub-classification, in my opinion. So I would not discourage the idea of Vinos de Pago. So, but I think it was attached to a certain category of, wineries with wealth and power, more than focus on, which I'm not saying.
So it didn't even meet its own stated
I
goals, do you think? Or it was off-putting because it was, maybe they were quality, but they were off-putting because of the wineries?
There are quality. There are. So I'm not questioning that, but I think it was attached to more of a, level of wealth and yes, and establishment.
Pay to play.
Establishment,
so
I think.
speak.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the right word, but.
Yeah. So relatedly, what is there? I'm curious. Like, where do you find the most confusing or the least clear appellation systems? I don't want to, not throwing Spain under the bus at all. I don't think it's
not
necessarily difficult to apprehend. But I'm just curious. Like, do you guys think there's another appellation, or are there any appellations that you think really need some sorting out or clarification, perhaps from Whatever.
Cava does.
Yeah, I was going to say
Cava.
that I'm not as well, more familiar, I should say, rather with Cava from the time I spent in Barcelona and with the Reventos y Blanc estate, and then also going to Gramona, which I thought was just amazing. It was an emotionally beautiful experience. But talking about how they wanted to be able to highlight producers of Cava that were making really high quality, extended lees contact, sparkling wines. That again, in the American market, I think people think of Cava, which it is delicious, and in Spain they'll tell you it's breakfast wine. As Nuria, I've heard her say, it's right next to the orange juice in the fridge. So I think knowing that they going towards Corponat, that was really exciting for me to experience as a young sommelier, to really start to think about inherent quality, and that in the market to try to differentiate. I think also Rioja, they've kind of started this movement, and I was able to taste the L'Indice Ramiori series where they're doing single village Rioja and labeling it as such. But, it took some time to get to that. And for, I think, again, consumers to understand that Rioja is, very broad. And it wasn't until recently that I even geographically really grasped that part of the Basque is in Rioja. So it touches on many different climates and, of course, that inherent, quality and differences that should be highlighted.
Yeah. Yeah. Ben, do you find any regions particularly obtuse, or maybe?
I don't really have any. I don't really seem to have any. I don't think I have any issues except maybe with Germany. But that I'll be 1,000%.
I was going to say Germany. I wondered if anybody else was going to jump in on that.
But that has to do with. I mean, I think that part of it is the fact that. There are not hard and fast. There are a lot of hard and fast rules with some of the Mosel River classification, like when they pick it, as opposed, and then subsequently if they ferment it dry or not. There's a number of producers that traditionally don't ferment completely dry, but one or two do for some of the Gros Cavach. But going back to the Vinos de Pago thing, I think one thing that stands out to me, I guess, just hearing about it, because it was sort of loosely explained to me by a sales rep, and he did a nice job, but he was also running late for an appointment, so I didn't get a full explanation at the time. But I think the thing is, to me, it sounds like it was more born out of a reactionary, born out of like, we need to have something too, as opposed to this organically grew out of us just doing something different than everybody else around us is doing. We need to set ourselves apart.
Yeah, and I guess that gets to what you were saying, Nuria, about people paying for buying essentially the distinction, right? Is that?
Yeah, I think if each of the appellations had a way to classify those estates that are single states that are, under rules of higher quality, then there would be no need of a Vinos de Pago. But trying to encompass the whole country, which is very diverse and rich, and just create that classification to elevate certain bodegas.
Okay. So, yeah, I think, Taylor, you mentioned the need, or maybe one of you did, in Cava. And doesn't Cava have they have that, what's it called, Guarda Superior?
Yeah, they just started. It's.
So they're trying, is what I'm kind of getting at. And the Corpinat you mentioned.
Yeah, the Corpinat is not part of Cava. So that's just some of the makers that decided to pull out of the Cava and create their own based on frustration of years of hitting their head against a wall. Yeah. A wall that, is it's just a tower.
But they could come in and use Guarda Superior if it was.
Yeah, and now it just started like creating a more of a, denomination with more specifics. It's recent, but the Corpinat is prior to that. And Cava still has a lot of power from big houses, so it's based on interest rather than farming.
Okay.
So that's why I think it will need a big shake and, developing and growing into classifying each of the parcels, really, in my opinion, not unlike Champagne.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Interesting. Yeah. So what do you think? Should we do, want to do one more question, or should we jump to the blind? Are you ready to
I got to make up for some points.
Okay,
so
let's do one more.
I'll do another
Let's
question.
do
One
one
more
more. I think
question.
I can, yes, I think I have
You
enough.
have one?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Let's try. So Matt, yeah, obviously I told you he was unable to be here because he was feeling unwell, but he did send along some ideas, and we had started with the last episode to do that reverse tasting note thing. You want to try one of those? That might be kind of fun to do.
Let's do it.
And let's just see how that works out. Let me pull up the thing here. A blinding note is what he calls it. Okay. So I'm going to read to you Matt's description of the wine, and then we'll see what we can work backwards from. I mean, Ben, you've got a tremendous leg up on this because you hang out with the guy all the time. So not to put the pressure on you, but
He rarely drinks our wines. He goes to other places to buy our wines for himself.
So he says of the wine, this is a multifaceted chameleon of a wine, and I really like it. It has a remarkably lively, salty, mineral, tangy nose that's complex and sherried, but very fresh. The palate is lemony, herby, I guess, different from herbaceous. Maybe you say herbaceous means green. I think probably herby, he's talking about it having an aromatic component. Yeah, the palate is lemony, herby, tangy, and intense. So fresh and bright, with some aptly nutty depth. Warm, long, rich finish. So that's the tasting note. He does give us 4 potentials, which I will list. One is the Gravner Ribola from Venezia. It's Venezia Giulia IGT, he says. The other is the Jean-Francois Ganevat Savagnin Cuvée Prestige. The third is the Terlano Pinot Grigio, and which is Terlano's probably Alto Adige, I think. And the fourth would be the Domaine Michel Bregion. Oh, anyway, a Muscadet Sèvres Eman sur Lie. So, Bregion, is that correct? I don't think it's correct. But anyway, those are our 4 options, I guess.
I'll go with number 4.
Whoa, you're right on it. Number 4, the Muscadet. Okay. For this chameleon with salty, lively, herbally, tangy, sherried nose, nutty, tangy, intense palate, aptly. Okay. Either one of you want to take a stab at it?
I'm going to go with the Ribola. I feel like, I want to go with the Ribola. So that's number 1.
Oh, okay. What's driving you there?
I feel like Ribola can take on that kind of sherry character. I think it does really well with some reductive treatment and in time, depending on what vintage it was.
Yeah, and,
Also
and Gravner would do that, yeah.
Yeah, and like the salinity, that I feel like Muscadet just wouldn't. I haven't had one, I should say, yet that has given me the performance of yeast that gets towards a nutty sherry type. So I'm gonna.
Yeah,
go
this
with
is the
Ribola.
Sur Lie. Is that what you were thinking
And
about?
also, unless it's oxidized.
Yeah,
right?
It
I
could
mean,
also. We don't know the condition of the
We're
wine. Yeah.
assuming it was well done.
Correct.
We don't know that.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Right, so-
oxidation would answer that question right away. All right, Ben, what do you think there? We have the Ribola, the Sauvignon,
Just
the Pinot
for
Grigio, and the Muscadet.
Yeah, so just for clarification for the Sauvignon, what was the name? The full?
That was Jean-Francois Ganevat, the
Uh,
prestigious Ganevat, Sauvignon Cuvée Prestige.
well, I'm going to go with Sauvignon because I always feel like even if it's not going to be made into, Chateau Chalon or some vaguely oxidized style under the floor, under the yeast, or named as such, that it sometimes is made that way anyway, but just not aged as long, or it wasn't fit to be the Chateau Chalon. And I just feel like taking a risk and going with a weird
Sauvignon.
with a weird guess for Matt.
Well, no, you nailed it. That is the correct answer. Yeah, it's the Sauvignon. Which that sherried nutty thing would be typical for a Jura wine. It wouldn't be unusual. So that was a good call. I had no idea, but that was interesting. But see, the reason I don't like this game so much is because it can go a million ways. It's just like, I don't quite get it. So we'll see if this remains a feature of the Real Wine Show podcast. I don't know, but thank you for playing along, and we tried it out, and maybe people found it instructive. We don't know. We'll see what the listeners say. But let's have you at this time uncork that blind there, that wrapped bottle on the table, and have you check that out, and then give it some tastes, and then I'll ask each of you to talk about the wine. This is what we call our emotive blind tasting segment. And then I'll ask you to taste it and then to talk about the wine, not in the usual way of like the tasting note, with the intensity and the scale and the tannic structure, the acid structure, but more to talk about how you experience that wine from an emotional standpoint. Like, how does it make you feel? Perhaps it'll remind you of a place or remind you of something. If not any of those things right away, maybe try to describe it as if it were a person, right? And what kind of attributes would it have if it were a person, right? Would it be like a shy, wallflower? Or would it be a really boisterous and gregarious showman? This kind of thing. So they've poured the wine in their glass now. They've poured the wine in their glass right now.
Yep.
And it's a red wine that's I can see from here. I'm just going to set the stage for our listeners here before you start talking about it. What I can see from here is that it's definitely a red wine. It has a little bit of a little bricking going on, doesn't it? It's a little bit of a garnet color there. It looks like there's color all the way out to the rim. So it's probably not that old, but it's definitely not a bright ruby. It's got a nice a garnet with a little bit of a little orange or a brown reflection in it. So that's the wine. I think they've all tasted it. Nuria's staring off into the distance, composing her thoughts.
Well, just when I tasted, I thought of a child, 8, 9, 10 years old, playing.
Oh, it's a playful, youthful wine, huh?
Playful, kind of like adventurous, not really knowing what it's happening around. Its world.
Yeah. Innocence in a way, maybe, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Could be just in a candy store.
Wow.
Deciding what, what to buy and where to go next.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I like that quite a lot. Man, that's going to be worth a lot of points. That's a good one. That's a very colorful and evocative description. Just curiosity though, do you feel
it's a boy, by the way, it's not a girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
A boy. A playful young boy in a candy store. Do you enjoy watching this boy, or do you feel like, it's a boy doing their thing and I'm going to go off and do something adult?
No, I think it's enjoyable for the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. From our other panelists here, Ben, Taylor, Ben, yes.
To me, it reminds me of waking up hungover at somebody else's house, and the first thing I grab is food, and the food is like very colorful Pop-Tarts, but like Pop-Tarts the way they tasted back in the day.
Like back before you knew better, when it tasted kind of good. You mean like
it tasted vaguely of fruit, like real fruit, but like the strawberry Pop-Tarts with the bright
the frosting and
also like cherry Pop-Tarts. But then that's how it smells. On tasting it I don't know. It's just such a departure, and I want to keep just smelling it.
Yeah, no, that's great though. I mean, it's reminding you of your youth.
Yeah.
I mean, your youth. I mean, maybe you still sleep over drunk. Hey, friends, I don't know.
and I am a boy, so.
Excellent. Okay, cool.
But you said you said hangover?
Yeah. Well, mentally a boy.
Cool. All right. Well, playful and youthful seem to be a common theme here. How is it hitting you, Taylor? Are you feeling that kind of, that innocence, that playful innocence in the wine, or?
I think so, but in a different light. For me, I was fortunate enough in post-pandemic to kind of land myself in agriculture and, really as a farmhand, your most important thing is watching what's happening in the field, obviously tasting things too, but, strawberries were my first endeavor. A cactus couldn't survive me before I met my husband. And then even furthermore, seriously. So I had to really become a person that could have the patience and I think the intrigue to be able to have a little more time in the dirt. So when I was smelling it and tasting it, really reminded me of like if you're picking really ripe berries and you drop them in the dirt and you just like, you're not going to stop to go walk over to a water source and rinse them off. You're going to eat them. Yeah. So there's something that's like, I think maybe youthful in the sense of if you're a kid and you're like digging through your parents' garden and, you're trying to pick the best berries and, I have 4 brothers, so sometimes it's, you're trying to reach in to get the best stuff. And
I have 3 brothers.
Oh, there we go. So many similarities. They keep us on our toes. But yeah, so I think there's like a really beautiful kind of earthy character that, reminds me of like dropping ripe berries and like currants and strawberries and then knowing that they're the best ones because I picked the ripe ones that I'm not going to waste them and pop them right in my mouth.
Wow. Those are great impressions of the wine. And I think they're colorful. I mean, they're very evocative. I think they paint a picture of a wine that is that's clear to understand. It's vibrant. I think at the least is how I would characterize that. So that's great. Those are fantastic stories. Thank you. I mean, I'm gonna for scoring here. I might have to fire up the computer and because these are close. So I don't know. I'm gonna give a slight edge. 50 points to Nuria for the playful, youthful boy in the candy store. That was me, Nuria. Cool. Okay.
Still today?
Maybe. How did you know? Oh God, that's embarrassing. Anyway, yes, that's true. I also do wake up hungover at friends' houses, apparently. So, but that aside, let's have. Would one of you like to unveil what our youthful, vibrant, strawberry flecked wine is, and let's see what we have. Ben's going for it.
Very poorly going for it.
Yeah, it's one of those Coravin sleeves, sort of tightly fitted.
It's Martha Stoneman 2017 Nero d'Avola.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's Mendocino, I think, right?
Yeah, Mendocino County, that is correct.
Yeah, cool. 2017.
Dang.
Very cool.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Yeah, it's hanging in there, isn't it?
Yeah. I like wines like this that immediately prompt me on what I want to eat.
There's not a whole lot of choice here. We have peanuts and we interrupted the programming to make sure the pizza guy didn't leave because we have pizza and peanuts. So there you go. I hope one of those is in the wheelhouse for you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Well, very good. I think that was a very strong ending. And when we, like I say, Matt usually does the scoring here, and he's kind of fond of picking winners and losers. But I have to tell you,
I'm okay with minority winning.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. So the man gets the win by grace of the women. So there it is.
The poor
Congratulations.
The poor struggling white man. So put upon.
There it is. You win, though. That's great. Well, thank you. I think that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed talking with all of you. I'm glad you shared your thoughts and your impressions today. And I look forward to having you all come back on again, another show. I think once we do it another time, we can have even more fun. So that's my hope.
Salud.
Thank you. Yes. Saludos. All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.